I'm Zari Osman, who will be conducting the seminar on critical thinking in mathematics at Sekolah Kebangsaan Sri Selangor on the 3rd of November, starting from 8 AM till 1 PM. The aim of this seminar is to give exposure to your children on how to think mathematically and critically in mathematics. So there are a lot of activities being designed for your children so that they know what thinking is all about. In real life situation, critical thinking is a skill that can be applied to analyze problems, to identify the root cause of the problem, and to define problems. In mathematics, especially in this program, I'll focus on how to answer or how to solve problems which before they find difficult. And like, for example, word problems. From my experience in teaching mathematics for the past 33 years, I found that most students find it difficult to solve word problems. So I will focus on the word problems so that they won't feel that mathematics is difficult because of the word problems or problems which involve diagrams. But for this particular program, the focus is more on the word problem and also activities related to critical thinking and mathematical thinking. For example, if you ask some of the students which one is bigger, 1/2 or 4/7, most of them will give an answer as 1/2 bigger than 4/7. Which is surprisingly, that kind of answer come from students who score A in UPSR. But for those students who have been trained to think critically and mathematically, they can solve problems in several ways. For example, you can draw diagrams to show that this is 1/2 and this is 4/7. That is, it means that one part out of 2 parts, and 4/7 they know that it is 4 parts out of 7 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts. Then from the diagram they can see that 4/7 is longer than 1/2, or they can change that to equivalent fraction. They multiply by 7. Here they multiply by 2. So you get and multiply same thing by 7 here and by 2 here. You get 7/14 and 8/14. And then they can compare the two fractions. Of course, they can see that from the fraction 8/14 is bigger than 7/14. Or they can change the 1/2 to decimal. 1/2 equals to 0.50, or 4/7 is 0.57. And there again, they can see that 0.57 is greater than 0.50. Or they can change that to percentage. For example, 1/2 is equal to 50%, and 4/7 is more than 57. More than 50% is 57, close to 57%. Or they can even use common sense. 4/7 is, of course, greater than half. For this to be half, it is 3.5/7, which equals to half. But for those people or for those students who are not trained to how to think critically and critically, they might jump to a conclusion that 1/2 is bigger than 4/7, which is not true. But for those people who have been trained how to think critically and critically, they could answer the question wisely and with several ways. So my idea of conducting this program is to expose to them, to tell them that there are mathematics is not just about getting answers, but also getting the answers in several ways. In a way, I'm going to train them how to become very creative in mathematics. And like, for example, if they come across with what problem, they should be able to analyze the problem, analysis of the problem. Ability to analyze problem is one important skill in mathematics, because most Malaysian students do not analyze problems. They just work on procedures. So when they focus so much on procedures, they don't understand mathematics. They just understand mathematics superficially, but not deeply. So for example, I have a problem like this. 2/3 2/3 daripada jarak suatu perjalanan ialah 200 km. Berapakah jarak seluruh perjalanan? 2/3 of a distance, or 2/3 of a journey is 200 kilometers. What is the total distance of the whole journey? So if a student does not know critical thinking or mathematical thinking, he or she will jump to a conclusion that 2/3 multiplied by 200, which is 133 and 1/3 kilometers, which is ridiculous, because 2/3 of the journey is 200 kilometers, and the whole journey seems to be less than 2/3 of the journey, or 2 parts of the journey. But those people who do not think, those students who do not think, they still can get the answer right. They just invert the fraction. And ask why they invert the fraction, they will say it's just that's what they should do. They used to invert the fraction whenever this kind of question pop up. But for those students who can think critically or mathematically, they can reason out. They can also say that I'm going to find out 201 part first, because 2 parts of the journey is 200 kilometers. So I'm going to find 1 part, which means that I take 200 over 2. I get 1 part, but the whole journey is 3 parts. So 3 times by 1 part is 100 kilometers, and the whole journey is 300 kilometers. So they can also express the procedures in several ways. Instead of 200 over 2 multiplied by 3, they can also work this way: 200 times 3, the whole thing over 2. But thinking students, of course, they know why they take 200 over 2 times 3, or 200 times 3 over 2. But students who are not used to thinking, or students who are not trained how to think, they just invert the fraction without knowing the reasoning behind the procedures. So hope all students in year 4 and year 5 will be able to attend. I hope as parents, it is good to encourage your children to be in this seminar, and after the seminar they will have a chance to refer to my blog, mythinkbrain.com, to get a few tips on how to solve problems critically, using critical thinking and mathematical thinking. Thank you.